Hello and welcome back to the Pitch Invaders podcast. This is episode 2. Today, once again, I'm joined by Josh Moorfield. Josh.
Hello everyone, pleased to be back on.
And also Tom Williams.
Hello everyone.
You can find our Twitter handles at the top of the screen right now. Once again, it's Carefree Josh M and Tom WCFC and Jack115. So today we're going to be talking about, once again, start off our segment with transfers. And today's transfer is going to be a transfer special on Chelsea, seeing as how much transfer news they've had recently. You boys are Chelsea fans, take it away, go
on. Well, I just want to talk about, there's new links today with coming from Matt Law, talking about Kai Havertz and saying that Chelsea are going to put in a bid after the German Cup final this weekend. And I'd expect that deal to be done relatively quickly after that bid's submitted. Because there was Wendell, one of Havertz's teammates, came out and said that Kai wants to play in the Premier League. It's his dream to play in the Premier League and he wants to test himself there. And I think Chelsea have got a great setup in terms of they've got a few German players and it'd be easier for him to settle at Chelsea. And due to the current situation in terms of COVID-19 and everything, they seem to be the only team that can put forward the sort of money. Especially with Bayern Munich signing Leroy Sané. It's going to be that doesn't rule them out completely, but it means that Chelsea have got a stronger position at the moment than any other team, in my opinion.
Josh, your thoughts on this?
Yeah, touching from what Tom said, spot on to be honest, about the Havertz rumours. I do agree with him about Bayern Munich as well. However, I can see Bayern still retaining an interest because he is a quality player. But I think they would do something. What I think they'd do is try and sign him for next summer, which Bayern Munich are a very clever club, very good run club as well. So it wouldn't at all surprise me if they're going to make an approach to do that. But touching on the other report which has come out from The Athletic is Declan Rice. As we all know, that West Ham beat Chelsea 3-2 last night, and Declan Rice was one of the key stand-up performers for West Ham. But it's not just been the game yesterday. He was sensational all season, I think. And I think he could definitely help Chelsea defence as a centre-half. He can play centre-back, obviously. His ball-playing abilities, aerially, he's brilliant. For me, it's a no-brainer. Obviously, he's got links around the club as well. What's your thoughts and opinions, Charlie and Tom?
Well, picking up on that, I was going to say, I don't think the Kai Havertz would be a good deal for you. I think you clearly should be spending that money somewhere else. We all know where else. Just another attacking player is not good enough for you at the moment. You saw yesterday at West Ham's thing. You saw yesterday in your game against West Ham. Well, today we're recording it on the 2nd, so yesterday was West Ham's game against Chelsea. You were defensively shocking. You were different. You lost to West Ham, who's been struggling. They should have had even one more goal. That was a quite clear goal. That was, I think, most people will agree. Antonio didn't really have anything to do that. But like saying, you really need to focus on defensive reinforcement right now rather than buying another attacker. It's like buying a new set of wheels for a car that doesn't even have an engine at this point.
This is true, but when go on, Tom.
I think the Chelsea are looking at it in terms of the two transfers that Chelsea have just made. They were last season, so you can forget about them for this season's transfer window. We're on a net spend of 0 at the moment. We haven't spent any money because it's a new financial year from 1st of July, which was yesterday. So Chelsea will be looking at it like a player like Kai Havertz. He's up there with one of the most promising talents in the world, and I think Chelsea looking at it in the situation where you can't miss out on someone like him, and depending on the situation of other clubs in terms of, we're going to talk about this later, but West Ham in the relegation battle, I'm not sure whether they stay up. It may stay up or go down. It may do something to Declan Rice's price, and Chelsea will be able to invest. If you've looked at the business they did in the last financial year with Werner and Ziyech, they were very, very clever signings in terms of the price that they spent. Prices were quite low for the calibre of player that they brought in, so I'd expect Chelsea to keep doing similar business in terms of signing players like Tagliafico would be my preferred choice at the price that's been touted around about 25 million in order to improve that left back position, and then centre backs. It all depends. I think Chelsea will spend up to 200 million in this financial year, but that's to be seen based on the end of this. We'll see what happens. I'm no expert, but
yeah, just shuffle on real quick. We're talking about the real quick to finish up this sort of Chelsea segment we're going on is quick touch on the old keeper situation. Tommy, you wanted to talk about that, and Josh?
Yeah, I wanted to speak about the goalkeeper situation, as we all know that Kepa hasn't really been that impressive this season.
No, he's been shocking in my opinion.
Yeah, exactly. He's not the sort of goalkeeper you want for someone who's going to win the league, and he's not a title-winning goalkeeper. I think that's the best way to put it. And Chelsea will definitely be looking at their options, and I really can't see that we're going to get 17 million for Kepa. So Chelsea, I think, just need to take their losses and just cash in on him, or even loan him out and try and get a fee back in the future. I'm not really sure what the best option would be to do, but coming on to sort of future goalkeepers coming in, Tom wanted to sort of speak to us about the three which have mainly been linked with.
So the first option we've got is Andre Onana from Ajax. It would seem as though Chelsea would be raiding Ajax at this point if they signed 3 players in one transfer window. But the business, Onana's looked very competent in the Champions League against us, and when they reached the Champions League semi-finals last season, he looked solid there, and would be a great piece of business, especially at 30 million, 35 million pounds in transfer fee, and that's what Ajax do. They develop great talent, and he's only 20, 23, 24, so that's quite young for a goalkeeper. There's Turkish goalkeeper called Gürkan Çakır. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Chelsea have developed quite strong links with a Turkish club called Trabzonspor recently, with Eddie Newton going there and being involved, who was previously part of the Chelsea coaching staff. And he's good, very tall, good shot stopper, but I don't know whether he'd be Chelsea quality. And because he's not a well-known name as such, some people may have difficulty accepting it if he was to become Chelsea's first choice goalkeeper. And then I'd agree. If I put this out there, I don't think it's going to happen at all. But I think loads of Chelsea fans' dream would be to have Jan Oblak in goal. But I don't think it's going to happen for the price tag. And
that's the ultimate dream. Yeah.
I don't think it's going to happen at all.
Well, just to cover up on Chelsea, the whole Chelsea roundabout. I think it's you can get these players and you need them. Obviously, like I said before, the defensive reinforcement right now. But seeing as what Chelsea are doing, they're splashing the cash, like Tom said, it's going to be interesting from them this summer. But just to round up on transfers now, we got the Sancho deal that could also come into Chelsea again. We could possibly see them putting a bid in, but United seem to not be wanting to budge on their price and not go over 100 million. So they could look for an cheap alternative in Ferran Torres. Valencia have had a dismal season. Ferran Torres could be very cheap, and he's a very promising youngster. He could easily back up and challenge, or most likely take the place of Dan James, and he'll give United much more strength than they need right now. Other deals are Griezmann to possibly Arsenal in a shock deal. They could be offered in a swap deal for Aubameyang and Guendouzi going to Barcelona, and Griezmann going the other way, which could be an interesting deal. Griezmann being 28 and turning 29, and Aubameyang 30 now. It could be another shock deal from Barcelona. You know, it could be another what they do in sort of situations, sending another younger player out for an older player trading in. And last two, Jude Bellingham finally agreeing in a deal to Borussia Dortmund to join the likes of Jadon Sancho now and Haaland over there, and finally Angel Gomez going out on a free agent who is a very promising young talent. Just quickly, any few little comments you boys got on them, any of them deals?
I think Jude Bellingham is a great coup for Borussia Dortmund, but I don't know much about him, to be honest. I haven't been able to watch. He's only just turned 17, and I don't tune in to watch Birmingham games every week. So Yeah, that's
Yeah,
all
so-
I've got.
Josh?
Yeah, I totally agree.
Any of those pick out?
Make sure you check out Friday's video 2 days ago, and I cover all the latest transfer news. Obviously, we're just going over in the in today's podcast, but make sure you check that out. There'll be a link in the description to check that out. And yeah, just going onwards. Yeah, I do agree with all the rest of them points. It'll be very interesting to see any other developments within the next coming weeks, and I think that's the best way to finish.
Good, yeah. It's just moving on from the perfect thing. Talk about the Griezmann situation is our main topics today. One of them being the Barcelona situation. So we know Barcelona are not in a great situation right now. They seem to be aging out. They're aging out. They're relying on Messi more. They got so many old players. They're adding to their problems, trying to bring in extra 30-year-olds and sending their youngsters out. They got a squad age, I think, is 27 right now as an average, 28, which is not good at all. It's one of the higher ends of top 5 leagues. We could definitely see a 5-year, possible 5-6 year period where Barcelona don't have any resurgence. They're not going to win much. We could see a struggling period. Josh, you highlighted this when we were doing our research and that. What do you think about this whole situation?
Yeah, I think it's absolutely shambles from Barcelona. Obviously, just making a signing of Pjanic and letting Arthur go is sort of credit to what I've just said, really. I'm not too sure what their thinking is on that whole story, and they're just shambles right now. I'm not really too sure the best way to really put it into perspective, but I don't see any top player. I just don't see any top player really wanting to go there right now because the state they're in, and obviously anyone in the right mind will always want to go to Barcelona. But if you can see they're going to be not challenging winning Champions League, I can see them dropping off a bit. What do you think, Tom?
I don't know. Like, if you're stuck in at the moment, it's looking like if you're stuck in an offer for any of their young players with a, let's say, 30 plus player plus a little bit of cash, they're just going to say, oh yeah, go on then. So that's what it seems like at the moment. They're not. I don't know. It's hard to explain because I don't watch La Liga that much, but it's just they're going down the route of AC Milan, in my opinion.
Yeah,
I wouldn't say that much.
We're at the top. We're at the
I
top
wouldn't
a
say
few
that
years ago, and they've fallen quite low.
They've fallen drastically, but I wouldn't say that drastic. I would say it's more.
But it could. What he's trying to say is it could be like that.
It could happen. It could happen.
It could happen.
Yeah, it could happen. It definitely happened.
Because
but what it's reminding me a bit more is of the United, where their stars aged out. They sold the players on. They lost Alex Ferguson mainly. They didn't slip down too far. Obviously, they're back in it. They're back in Champions League. They've been in the Champions League in and out the last decade. But I don't see them doing an AC Milan where they just become mediocrity. I think we are talking about Barcelona, one of the biggest clubs to ever exist. I know AC Milan are as well, but they found themselves in more of a dodgy situation with the Chinese investments and stuff as well.
I do agree, Charlie. However, I will disagree from where you said about like maybe going all the way down. I do think their board of directors are absolute shambles right now. They're not spending really any money on the right players. I mean, spending 100 million on Griezmann is beyond a joke.
Well, they're going against the trend. They're going against the trend you see nowadays. You see a trend of the younger players, teams either relying on their academy players or they're going for inexperienced.
This is true,
players.
but when you look at
Dortmund, Arsenal, Chelsea.
Yeah,
even Liverpool.
Yeah, I do agree with that.
Players.
Barcelona obviously had their trend of young players in the past.
They're going against it. They're going against it now.
I know they are, but the thing is what we're talking about is Barcelona being not a well-run club at the moment. If you look at a team like Bayern Munich, they've signed the likes of Lewandowski, Gnabry, Sane, Thomas Müller, all of these players for under 100 million. Koeman, all these players under 100 million.
A few of them were before the inflation. So
yeah, but I'm just saying, this is a difference of sort of a well-run club to a Barcelona who just seem like they're spending for the sake of it.
Chelsea are like the most well-run club in the world. You just take out Chelsea. Chelsea are perfect situation of their deals recently.
Yeah, I do agree, but with we've obviously covered Chelsea, and with Chelsea, obviously, it looks like we are now going in the right direction after having a couple of years of maybe spending silly signings like your Bakayokos, Muratas, but that's a whole different story.
Yeah, well, just touch up on that. It's just the board also making stupid decisions. They're not really getting their point across. They keep splashing the cash from these stupid deals. Ousmane Dembele, Coutinho, now Griezmann joining that list. They're not bringing through any youngsters at all.
They've got a couple. They've got Ricky Puig and Ansu Fati, but it depends.
Ansu Fati, to be fair, I was watching videos researching the other day. His stats are not much better than people like the ones that went to like Stoke and that hit Bojan, people like that. His stats are not better than most of them. So
yeah, but
don't compare Bojan to Fati, please, mate.
No, Josh. They have the same. I watched their first season. Both of their first seasons. Bojan had better stats than Ansu Fati had.
Yeah, but it's his first season at a club. Trust me,
Exactly.
Fati is going to be a top player. I've seen a lot of Barcelona, and for someone his age, he looks a top player.
I don't know. I don't see him as. I see him as a good. I think he's quite overrated. Not overrated in the sense, but I think he's quite overhyped in that sense. He's not as good as other players in the Liga like that. So
I completely disagree with that.
Real Madrid have a lot more better ones. They have Rodrigo and Vinicius Junior.
They've spent millions on. They spent almost 100
million.
Yeah,
I understand that, and I understand they brought it up.
They're trying to find the next Neymar. They've spent 100.
I know they're trying to.
How many? 120 million almost on Rainier, Rodrigo, and Vinicius Junior.
Not to mention 130 million on Eden Hazard as well.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So I'm not taking away from that, but Barca, you don't have anyone from. You can never compare it to the likes of mid 2000s, early 2000s, La Masia with Iniesta, Busquets, Messi. Just people come through.
Barcelona haven't planned for the era post to these players. That's their biggest problem at the moment. I think
that's exactly what you're saying. That they've got no direction at the moment. They need to get that back.
You'll get to a point.
Their squad is aging out massively.
You'll get to a point where the players like Ricky Puig and Ansu Fati will want to leave because the club's not going in the direction they want it to go in. But I reckon Ansu Fati might go out on loan, just to help him develop a bit more. But They need to do something about this stupid spending fast. They need
to start making smart decisions and not. They need to prepare mainly for life after Messi, because he's 33 now. He's not saying you got Ronaldo who's 35, absolutely still tearing up in Serie A. So he's not gonna go. Messi's not gonna go off his peak anytime soon. But he's still aging out. You've got another maybe 4 or 5 years, maybe, of him being a good, amazing, unbelievable talent. But
when you get to that age, they're gonna start picking up injuries and all of that sort of stuff.
Exactly.
And start getting to the end of. That's when you start seeing them trailing off. I reckon they've probably got about Ronaldo. I think Ronaldo will go on longer than Messi, but 3 to 4 years maximum.
Ronaldo is 2 years older than Messi. I'm not sure about that.
No, I reckon in terms of length
Ronaldo's
of career.
physique is he's rated. What is like? Doctors said he was like a 22, 21-year-old. He's something else in that sense. Messi maybe I don't agree, but I think you two say Messi is a better footballer, but Ronaldo's physique and the way he conducts himself is way better than how Messi does.
I try and stay. I don't pick a side in that argument, and I'm not discussing it today because
we need to move on from that anyway.
You've gone for too long.
Yeah, he's gone for too long. Yeah.
We'll move on to the second part of our main discussion now. Is we want to talk about once again the Premier League. We're going to talk about the top spots for Europe, and obviously quickly mention the relegation battle. So top spots, guys. Who do you think? Who do you see? We're including the City band. So first, third, fourth, and fifth. Who do you think you're going to get?
Well, my opinion is I think Manchester United are on a brilliant run of form right now. So I can actually just see them finishing potentially third or fourth, not even fifth. I think they're obviously going to have a blip, aren't they? Somewhere, but obviously
I don't
Bruno
think they will.
Fernandes
I don't
is...
think they will.
Yeah, but Bruno Fernandes has obviously really improved their team. I think
know,
they
but
will drop a couple of points
look
because...
at United's wrong form. They
will have to. They
They've
will
only got
drop
Leicester.
a couple of points because
Leicester's
there's too many games.
There's too many games every 3 days. Every team, even Liverpool, will drop
there
points.
is too many games. I understand that, but they're only difficult in quotation marks at the moment is Leicester, and Leicester are
To be honest, there's no easy
for
game in the
form.
Premier League when there's games every 3 days.
Oh, you're just saying that because you lost West Ham.
No, we're not. It's the truth anyway.
Yeah, it's the truth.
Can beat anyone in the Premier. Anyone can beat anyone in the Premier League. But especially when you try and compact, because of the situation, you try and compact games, you get teams like that don't play European football from playing football every 3 days, and they're used to only playing like once a week, twice a week maximum when they're in the cup competitions. So that's when you get to. But that's when you see. At the moment, there's teams like Sheffield United. Before the break, they were on a great run of form, and now they've won today against Spurs 3-1, but they lost 3-0 to Newcastle, and everyone would have thought, oh yeah, that would have been a tight game. And they probably would have pushed Man United to a smaller result than what they lost to. I still reckon they're going to get Europa League anyway.
Let's
just moving swiftly onwards to the top 5.
That's what we're going to say. Let's just put, who do you think will get third, fifth? Just no.
Okay, I'm going to go.
Actually structure it. Sorry, not third, fifth. Third to ninth.
Manchester United, I think, will finish third.
Third.
I think Chelsea will finish fourth. I think Leicester will finish fifth. I think Wolves will finish sixth. I think Tottenham will finish seventh.
Tottenham over Arsenal at this current form.
Yeah, I think Tottenham, they've sort of got quite a few players back. I think they'll win some games. I think Sheffield United and Arsenal will be the next two. Maybe Arsenal 10th if they're lucky.
Yeah, you're hating. Yeah, you're hating on Arsenal. I know you are. You're not actually giving your valid opinion. I could tell. Go on, Tom. What's your?
Well, I reckon it will be.
Don't do a Josh here.
Third and fourth. I reckon United will finish in third. Chelsea in fourth. Pushed by Leicester and Wolves. Leicester on a bad run of form. And then fifth place will be either Leicester or Wolves. I can't decide. I don't know at the moment. And then the Europa League places will be obviously one of Leicester or Wolves. And Sheffield United, I think.
You think Sheffield will clinch it back?
And then, but I still think Arsenal will finish ahead of Spurs.
Yeah, good. I think. I just want to point out how just before we recorded, just before we started recording, we had Josh telling us no more laughing, and no more joking around. And it's from last week, and guess he's broken that rule already. But
okay, Charlie. Okay, not to have some fun with some friends.
No, I was
don't laughing, Charlie. No laughing.
Yeah, you're saying that you're pulling out the point before we recorded, no laugh. And...
Okay.
Yeah.
Moving swiftly onwards.
Well, I think. Obviously, I think we all agree on Man United finishing third. I think third, it'll be third Man United. I think Wolves will finish fourth. I think Chelsea fifth. I think Leicester will finish sixth. Arsenal seventh. And then Sheffield and Tottenham 8th and 9th. That's I think would be my rating right now. But yeah, let's as Josh was putting it, let's move on to what you think relegation would be. Josh and Tom?
I think relegation battle is obviously between Norwich, for me, who are down, Bournemouth, Aston Villa,
Norwich are already gone.
Watford, West Ham, and you have to include Brighton if they lose a couple of games on the trot. But the three teams who I think are going to go down are the three teams currently in the bottom three. Norwich, obviously, I think, in the 20th, Bournemouth in 19th, and Aston Villa in 18th. What about you, Tom?
I have to agree with that. At the moment, you can't write the two teams. I think Brighton is staying up, but you can't write off Watford or West Ham at the moment because they're still in and around. They're like 3 points off those positions. But I think the West Ham win for them against Chelsea last night was massive for them in terms of big 3 points. But I still think Norwich are down, Bournemouth are almost there, and Aston Villa are ready to join them.
They're
which
Yeah.
that will lead on to that I reckon if Aston Villa go down, Jack Grealish will
Jack
come. But
Grealish leaving.
that's a conversation for another day.
Yeah, exactly. But I think I agree with you. The Aston Villa are just had a look at their schedule, and they've got I'd say out of their last 6 games, they got 5 very difficult games coming up for them with Liverpool, United, Crystal Palace, Everton, and Arsenal. They're not gonna even West Ham to a push. They're not. I don't see them getting. I can see them maybe getting 3 points from that.
So we all we all
not
seem
enough
to agree
stay
on the
up.
3 teams going down.
Yeah, I think definitely the 3. I think Bournemouth has sunk. I think they're a sunk ship. I think they've kind of given up. They showed themselves giving up against Newcastle. We were not being funny, not a great team, and Norwich were gone.
I think
with the quarantine.
Apologies
with Norwich,
everyone with the audio if it's not so good right now.
I think with Norwich, they're trying to. When they started in the Premier League this season, they tried to play the right way. They didn't try and sit back and defend every single week. They were going at teams, and you could see that when they pushed Chelsea to 3-2 at Carrow Road and they beat City. But I think that they just got exposed too much with the pace of the Premier League as the teams grew in from the beginning of the season into the rest of the season. They just got found out really easily. But they're trying to play the right way, which I admire them for. But I just don't think they have the squad depth or quality in the squad to keep them up. We'll see what happens with them next season because they're going to be in the Championship again. But we'll see if they push again for promotion and get back into the Premier League and see how their squad changes. But I reckon Max Aarons is gone because he's a talent.
I think Max Aarons will be gone. I think
Todd Cantwell will be gone as well. He's a very good player.
I think them two will be snatched up. I can even probably see Timo Pukki possibly snapped up by a relegation friend team.
Emi Buendia as well.
Ham. Emi Buendia. Their team's going to be pulled apart. I see them doing a Huddersfield where they go down shockingly, and then the next season they're in mid to low table of the Championship. I don't see them really bouncing back for another 2-3 years, unless Daniel what's his name?
Daniel Farker.
Yeah, Farker. I don't see him. I see he's got a massive job on his hands. They're really not ready for the Premier League. Let's just put it like that. But I think I agree. Bournemouth and Norwich gave up quite early on.
So what about the teams going up then?
Teams going up. I'll start off with this one, as I watch quite a lot of Championship football.
Yep.
I think Leeds are going to win the league. I think in the second, I think West Brom will just have enough to finish second. And I think in the playoffs, obviously, as we all know, we've discussed this last week, anything can happen. But from what I've seen since the football's been back, Brentford are in absolutely blinding form. Before the lockdown, they had a couple of injuries. Ponson Janssen, the centre-half, was injured. And they missed him quite a lot with Ethan Pinnock at the back. So they're obviously now back, and they had a crucial win against West Brom and Fulham last week. So I'm going to go Brentford to go up. I think it's going to be their season this year. What about yourself, Charlie?
I think I have to just remind the audience, just point out, Josh is a very avid watcher of Brentford as well as Chelsea. So if you need any Brentford news, you know where to go to.
Yeah, follow my Twitter at carefreeJoshM if you want any latest news.
But my opinion, I think I got to agree with you. West Brom and Leeds. Leeds obviously winning it, and West Brom tailing them, I think. But as it stands, I don't know. I think I can see Brentford sort of doing a derby from last year or a Leeds from last year where they're amazing, they're on form, and then they slip up in the playoffs. I think I could see possibly Fulham going up instead. Mitrovic obviously being unbelievable. He's definitely not a Championship player. He deserves to be in a higher league. But yeah, I definitely see possibly I would be Brentford or Fulham going up in the playoff place. Tom?
Well, I guess that's the exciting thing about the Championship. You've got 2 automatics, and then you've got a playoff between 4 teams to see who gets in, and you don't know. You can sort of predict who's going to go up, but you don't know for sure. And I think that's the exciting thing about the Championship. But just looking at the the table at the moment, there's a few teams that could sneak into that sixth place over Cardiff in the next 6 games, because it's generally very tight. You've got Preston North End, who are 4 points off, Swansea again 4 points off, Derby, who are only a point off getting into that position. But I think it's I think it is just the teams in the top 3 places at the moment that are going to go up, and I think it may be hard for a team like Brentford. Brentford are also moving into their new stadium next season, which would be great if they could play their first season in the new stadium in the Premier League. It'd be great for their sponsors and all of that sort of stuff. They'll earn a decent amount of money. I think Leeds, they've just been ticking time bomb waiting to get back into the Premier League. They haven't been in the Premier League for ages, and every time they've been in that situation where they've been top of the league, they've just gets to the last few games and it's just like, okay, let's drop back into the playoff places where we find ourselves being a bit more comfortable, and then they go and lose those games. Yeah. So I think and West Brom, they've been up there in the past few seasons as well. So
up and down.
So I think it is just on the top 3 places that will go up. I would be very surprised if Brentford don't. But we'll see what happens when the playoffs come around for the Championship.
Oh yeah. Just to put up on that, just quickly finish off the segment. Just a quick list. Just tell me which ones you think out of next season. So let's say we're going to say West Brom, Brentford, and Leeds go up. Out of them 3, who do you see coming back down real quick? Just name the team. That's it. Who do you think?
Out of those 3.
Out of those 3, who do you see coming back down, or possibly all 3 staying up?
I think it's dependent on transfer business, because if Brentford lose Benrahma and Ollie Watkins, they have no chance unless they recruit really well, and that's just off watching Brentford regularly. And obviously the same with West Brom and how they spend, and obviously losing players, etc. And the same with Leeds. So I think it's a hard question to really say. But obviously, if Brentford did to lose them 2 players, then you probably have to say them, as obviously they haven't got the same budget as Leeds and sort of West Brom.
I think I see solid Leeds staying solid up. I think they'll want to retain the Premier League after being out for so long. I see Leeds staying up, and West Brom and Brentford I can see going down next season. Tom, real quick, who do you think staying up and going down?
I would, if Brentford can keep those players, I wouldn't be surprised if all of them stay up. But the most likely to go down, I'd probably say would be Brentford. The most likely out of those 3 to go down would be Brentford. But it depends on what happens in the transfer market, obviously, and we'll see what happens next season as the season gets into the flow of things. We'll see if those teams can actually prove that they're able to be good, solid teams in the Premier League, and because there may be some surprises with teams in the Premier League that might go down, and some teams might hit bad run of form, like Watford. Maybe they could go down, but we'll see what happens in the transfer market.
Well, let's move on then, boys. Just because it's time to get on a bit. I think we've covered that quite well, the relegation battle. But once again, we come to our same segment as last week. We're rotating around to me this time, and it's the unpopular opinion. This week, I believe my unpopular opinion is that Arteta is currently a better manager than Lampard. My points for this is you just have to look at currently the track record. I know you can't go off much, both of them are very new managers, but Frank's time at Derby, not being funny, I don't know if you would disagree with me, was nothing spectacular. He gone from 5th to 5th, as I like to point out a lot. He lost them in the playoffs. He had a decent team. He had 2 Chelsea starters in that team.
He didn't spend any money either, to be honest, to be fair to him.
I know he didn't spend.
He did an incredible job.
But he's also got 2 Chelsea starters. He had 2 Chelsea starters in a Derby team.
They weren't Chelsea starters.
Chelsea youth academy players, to be precise.
they moved on to it, and Tammy's got 14, 13 goals this season. Mason Mount.
Tammy Abraham didn't even play under.
Tammy Abraham was playing under. Tammy Abraham was playing under Dean Smith at Aston Villa.
Oh, sorry, Mason Mount. Still, Mason Mount is he's still a Chelsea star from this season. He's still not much will change over one.
That's more credit to Mason Mount though, not Frank Lampard.
I know, but let's just. What I'm saying is Derby. You can't re-rate him at Derby. He got from 5th to 5th. He missed out on the playoff. He's not. I don't rate him at Derby at all.
I think that's very unfair criticism of Frank Lampard.
It's not though, because it's the truth, and I think under. You see him in the Premier. He's done amazing for the squad he had with. He's had not being funny, mainly awful squad, Asian squad that didn't really work well together. Your backline is atrocious, and he's got you to.
To be honest, that reminds me of Arsenal quite a bit this season. Arteta can't really get them going.
Arteta's got them going in bursts, I reckon. Both of them have a very difficult task. Both have very not different squads, but they have very squads that don't gel well together. They have Frank Lampard's doing what he's doing with the thing. Whatever his plan is, I still think he needs to bring defensive reinforcement over his attacking options right now. But I personally believe Arteta is going to be the better manager through things like he's studied under Pep, which at the moment is the greatest manager in the world. He's implementing that mentality in Arsenal right now. He's getting the players to work well together. He's implementing things that Pep uses, like if you're late to in training, you got to do the spin the wheel to get a punishment and stuff like that. He's implementing this.
Frank Lampard also, just to let you know, Frank Lampard finds the players if they're late. He doesn't just do a stupid spin the wheel. He just finds the players.
It's not a spin the wheel. It's the idea of not just being I'm the boss. I'm taking this. He has.
Can I give my opinion on this?
Well, let me just finish the point, because then you rebuttal it afterwards. He's taken a struggling squad under Emery that was looking destined for a relegation battle to contention to Europa League again, which is amazing in my opinion. You got, no matter how bad you may see him doing, he's turned Arsenal around fundamentally right now, and he's rebuilding for the future. And you know he's done a better job. He's in my opinion than Frank Lampard has. Lampard's been struggling most of the season without his big players. He's not been able to resource the team. He's not been able to shake it around when something goes wrong.
Well,
he's struggling. Your best player this season is a player who's leaving you in the summer. Is Willian, an Asian player that you've had to rely on because the rest of your team has not been fundamentally well. I know you had transfer ban and stuff, but still. You have players like Tammy and that, who's, I know injury and stuff, is still. I don't see Frank. He's done a good job for what he's done, but I think Arteta's, in the circumstance Arsenal was in, has done a way better job.
Well, I'm just gonna say that Chelsea have had a number of key players out injured for the majority of the season. When you're talking about you had N'Golo Kante out injured.
Yeah, I reckon.
We've had who else? Emerson, who has looked a different player. He was looking great before he got an injury earlier in the season, and now he's just shadow of himself. Ruben Loftus-Cheek has just come back from 13 months out. Hudson-Odoi has just come back from a was it ACL?
Yeah.
I think he was out for 7-8 months, and then came back too early, and then picked up another few injuries and has been out. So he hasn't been able to, and he hasn't built up the confidence to play at the level he was playing at before he got that ACL. We've had to rely on an inexperienced Tammy Abraham in the Premier League at 21-22, and he still scored 13-14 Premier League goals this season. We've got a few inexperienced players in there like Reece James, Samori, Mason Mount, and Tammy Abraham at the top level, and it takes a good manager to get. I know the Premier League's not been the greatest. This hasn't been the greatest season.
It's been still got used.
Frank Lampard's Chelsea have been in the top 4 spaces since October the 10th. I think it is. So that you've got to give him some credit for that consistency. That it doesn't matter about the quality.
You only can play who you.
We've been in the top 4 spaces. We've been in exactly. You can only play who's in front of you, and everyone. If you can't. influence the results from the other teams.
I know, I understand that, but
so-
it's not really gone. Given the seasons, the quality of the season, it hasn't really given him much of a challenge, has it?
With a transfer ban, and being consistently in the top 4 for such a long period of time, it deserves a lot of credit. Especially he hasn't been able. Arteta's had a transfer window and has spent money. Chelsea are trying to make the correct signings, and if you look at his pull power already, he's managed to get Werner in. I know everyone's going to say, "Oh yeah, well he was set to Liverpool." Read the interviews that Timo Werner has done, or watch the interviews that Timo Werner has done. He's said that the
pull power.
that Lampard was a key part of the negotiations bringing him to the club. Same with Hakim Ziyech. It's this play style and all of that sort of thing that wants to bring them to Chelsea, and that's because of Frank Lampard. He hasn't had the ability to implement his style correctly amongst the majority of players, because the players we've had 7-8 key injuries this season. So, and when you look at Arsenal, yes, Arteta's doing a great job. You've got to see what he does in the transfer market. I'm not going to say who's going to be better or who's going to be worse, because they're very early into their managerial careers. But when you go to talking about Frank Lampard at Derby, he didn't spend much. It was his first season in management, and he still managed to get a Derby side into the.
He took over when he kept him at fifth.
No, he took over at the beginning of the season, and he got them into the playoff places. So for the first year of management, and he got them into the playoff final. So in the first year of management, that is deemed a success.
No, I'll give him that.
And when you look at other managers in their first season in management, it's not always going to be like the top. They're not going to get the top job straight away. They're not going to achieve straight away. You've got like Mourinho was at Belenenses. He was a translator at Barcelona, and then he went to go and work at Belenenses and had to work his way up. He didn't win a trophy straight away in his first season. Same with Jurgen Klopp. Jurgen Klopp was working at teams like Mainz, and in the his first job I think was in the third division of German football. So you've got to take it into perspective that way. And he's a very clever person. He's a very clever individual. So when you look at the way that Chelsea are trying to play, you can see they're trying to do something, but they haven't, because they had the transfer ban, they haven't been able to bring in the sort of players that they want to. They haven't been able to bring in the sort of players that would help them implement the style this season. So when you can't change the defence immediately. We sold David Luiz and then promoted Tomori from the academy, and they're obviously going to have inexperience. So when you look at the Arsenal team, when you look at where they were good at the beginning of the season. Then they dropped off under Emery.
We had 3 or 4 good games that dropped off completely.
You had no choice.
Well, anyway, moving swiftly onwards, because
to drop.
Arsenal fell apart, and it's in the end of the day we had when Arteta. It's still, I'm not going to change my opinion. Arteta had a much bigger job than Frank Lampard did. Arsenal were a much more shambolic situation. He's turned the club around. We had Granit Xhaka, who was a disgraced captain at the point, wanting to leave, on the brink of going to Hertha Berlin. Now in pretty in form, scored a goal against Norwich on the Wednesday. He's done well. He's turned players around. He's got the attitude going. He's got players like Bukayo Saka and other players just to stay at the club to mate. He's on the brink of hopefully keeping Aubameyang for another year. He's implementing a philosophy that's more, at the moment, I'm not saying taking away Frank Lampard, I don't think I am, more ingrained into the club right now. You know,
I do agree with Charlie. I do agree, but I think it's time to move on from this. Obviously, it's a fair discussion what we've had. It's a good few points on Arteta and Lampard. It's a good discussion between Tom and Charlie. I thought they both said their point very well. On this occasion, I'm going to have to say that Frank Lampard, in my opinion, is a better manager right now, and I think he will be a better manager in the future. But this doesn't mean to say if Arteta does leave Arsenal, he can go on and become better. I don't think he will be as good as people are going to make out to him to be when he first joined the club. But moving onwards,
we need to talk about the quickly just the little topics in that. First of all, I think the most plain one would be, who do you think is going to win the FA Cup, boys?
Manchester City.
I think it would be
Man City.
City.
Both City. Both City. I think United, in my opinion. I think it'll be a United City final. I think United will not breeze past Chelsea, but they'll get past Chelsea quite easy. I think Chelsea are going to more focus on securing that top 4 position, and United are going to go all out. I just feel like Ole's going to do that. City, I don't think I see Arsenal putting up much of a fight against City, to be honest. I think they'll 2-3-0 bashing. Hopefully we do put a good up. And of course I want to see Arsenal in for 14th and put us two trophies ahead of United, our closest rivals, but I don't see it happening. I think United will definitely win it. I think they'll clinch it. But yeah, I think, is there any more topics we're going to talk on? Do you think that's bringing it to the end? Boys, any last thoughts or anything?
Make sure you subscribe to the channel,
I'm fine.
and make sure you like the video if you enjoyed it, and make sure you
That's,
make sure you check on
that's-
all our
that's
social
it.
medias.
Just-
The link will be in the description. And thank you guys for watching.
Mhm.
And see you guys for the next video. Peace.
Yep. See you guys. Like Josh says, see you guys later. Like, subscribe, and see you later.